Welcome back to the Nexus. This is Taylor Tunison, your Communication Director for True North Technologies. Today we have a special guest. I'd like you to meet Bud from LIBA. Bud Synhorst, would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to be here. It's kind of fun to be on the other side of the microphone doing these instead of asking the questions. So, as you said, my name is Bud Synhorst. I'm the president and CEO of the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Been with LIBA for about 16 months now.
Wow.
As the CEO anyway. So, have a long background in nonprofit work, all different kinds of levels, whether it be in education, athletics, hospitals, community colleges.
You were with UNL for a little while.
I was with the athletic department at Nebraska for a while. So a lot of different things in the nonprofit world, mostly came up in fundraising and then into nonprofit association type management. Prior to this, I was with the Alpaca Owners Association,
really,
which is a national organization based here in Lincoln.
Really,
yeah.
That's
so
fascinating. I did not know that. Alpacas.
Yeah, the National Alpaca Association, located right here in Lincoln, and we serve members all over the country. And like I said, I came to LIBA here about 16 months ago.
And how have you enjoyed LIBA? Is it been a lot different than what you're used to?
Well, it is interesting for me because I came to LIBA having been a member. I've been a member of LIBA personally for over 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I kind of knew the organization, had been active in some different ways in the organization, had known Kobe and interacted with Kobe in a lot of different ways, especially in political and campaigns because of my background.
Right.
And so I was tooting along at the Alpaca Association, and the search firm reached out and said that my name had been one that people had said they should talk to. Would I be willing to talk? And I said, sure.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy not to take advantage of those opportunities. And as we kind of walked through the process, it really, really helped me understand how great of a fit I was for LIBA and LIBA was for me. I'm a Lincoln person. I went to high school in Lincoln, got my master's at Nebraska, have worked a bulk of my career here in Lincoln, and I just love our community, and it's a place, when I was switching positions, my middle daughter said, so why the change? She was a sophomore in high school at the time. She's like, why a change? And which was kind of a cool, fun question. But for me, it was all about, I love our community, and it was an opportunity to help businesses, help our community, try to help affect what's going to be the future of our community for kids and grandkids. So it's been kind of fun for me.
We love the community. This town, I've also grown up in Lincoln, graduated from Lincoln Southwest, went to UNL. It's just a great small little town, medium-sized town. So would you tell us a little bit more about LIBA?
So LIBA is a small organization, represents businesses, a lot of small businesses. So, but we have all size of business that we represent. So it's an organization where we come together and we provide several different things for our members. I think first and foremost is education.
Okay.
And the things that we try to provide from an educational perspective for our members are really things like what's going on in the city, what's happening from a regulatory standpoint.
I see.
How are city, county, state, and federal agencies acting that's going to impact your small business?
Try to anticipate the change.
Try to anticipate some things. So, for instance, with the PPP program.
Right.
We went through a lot of things to educate people about the PPP program, but then all of a sudden the rules kind of PPP kept changing, right?
Of course, yeah.
It was like, okay, they're going to be forgivable, and then, you can do this, and then, oh, wait a minute, that's not going to happen. And so, like, one of the big things a lot of people hadn't heard about was the loans that were forgiven were still going to have to be counted and reported as income for the business, even though those loans were forgiven because they used it to pay their employees, which kept them off the unemployment rolls and all those kind of things. And so that was an opportunity for us to communicate out to our members what was happening and encourage our members to reach out to our federal delegation and say, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like Lucy in the football. You said this is what it's going to be, and then it doesn't happen. And so we try to really stay on top of that. We've got some folks in our office that are really good about staying on top of the policies and what they're talking about at the city, whether it's the city, the county, or the state. Really, those are the ones that affect us the most. And trying to be proactive in those,
Absolutely.
trying to get our members to understand how it might affect their business and encourage them to call. So education is a big part of it.
Right.
And advocacy kind of ties with that education.
Absolutely.
Because we try to advocate and be the voice of these small businesses, right? You know, a lot of, you know, I call them mom and pop shops, but, you know, just a single business owner running a business, doing their thing, like they don't have the wherewithal to be out lobbying at the legislature about things. You know, they might be able to make a phone call. They might not know what's happening. So we really fill that role for those small businesses. But, you know, we have everything from that single business owner on their own to upward of more than 1,000 businesses with more than 1,000 employees.
Wow.
Which is really kind of cool, because what we've seen recently is how those larger businesses are willing to step up to help the smaller businesses and do things to try to provide aid. So the education, the advocacy, we provide a lot of networking opportunities for our members, or well, we did.
True.
You know, and that's through ribbon cuttings, coffee and contacts, and BizNet. Those are kind of our three things, plus our monthly lunch.
Okay.
Where we have speakers come in, and, you know, we get 125 or 150 people. But it's an opportunity for our members to come together, get to know each other, be able to network a little bit, find out about other businesses. That's one of the really fun things when we do our ribbon cuttings like we did here, or a BizNet or a coffee and contacts. It's a good way for people to learn more about other businesses, right? You know, people may hear of True North Technologies, but they go, what's that? But, you know, we have a ribbon cutting here, and Renee has the opportunity to say, this is True North, this is our team, these are the things that we can do, you know, here's our offices, come and see it. And so to me, it makes it more personal and really provides those connections. And that's probably one of the last things I would talk about from an organization standpoint is trying to be a connector.
Right.
You know, especially during COVID, we've had a lot of phone calls about, hey, I'm looking for this, or I'm looking for that, or I need this, or I need that. Who can I turn to? And so that's been a real good opportunity for us to say, hey, I know this person over here. They're looking for this. I need to introduce you to.
Right.
You know, we're helping both, right?
Bridge
and so
the gap.
that's, you know, kind of creating that bridge and being that connector. So.
Yeah, the relationship building, you know, that's a lot of what I'm hearing is, you know, being a resource. You guys sound like an amazing, incredible resource for anywhere from the small business owner all the way up. And
well, and that's really kind of one of the things for me. My whole career has been about relationships.
Right.
And I think the more we have a relationship and have a connection, you know, when I first came to LIBA, I knew a lot of the members just through my past and having been involved. But, you know, the calls that we get on a daily basis about, hey, I'm looking for this or looking for that, or getting to know the business owners and, you know, just connecting with them on a level that, you know, we want to make sure their business succeeds. And one of the things I was talking about yesterday was we need you. Like, we need you, the small business owner. So if you need help, pick up the phone and call. Like, get a hold of us. What can we do to try to help save you?
Right.
Because we need these small businesses in our community, because, you know, the large online retailer that'll get your stuff into you in 2 days, they're not sponsoring your kids' youth soccer team.
No.
They're not donating to the theater department at Southwest High School, or you know, any of the community things that we have going on. They're not donating to the local church for their bazaar or their charity event.
No.
It's these local businesses, and we need them. And so we just try to be there for them and try to figure out what resources they need.
Oh, it's a great opportunity for any local organization that needs just a little help, or just needs to have some support. You know, tough times, we got to rally together, and we're a lot stronger together. So we're really proud to be working with you. Would you go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you found True North Technologies, maybe how you met Renee, and how about the work that we've done for you?
Well, I think it was pretty early on. I met Renee at one of our networking events.
Okay.
And we got to talking a little bit, and she started telling me a little bit about what True North does and some of the services you provide, and we had been having a conversation about an app as a way to kind of communicate with members and all those things. And so we sat down and had several conversations. She probably dreaded those meetings because, but for me, having not been in the functional development of an app world before, it was like, whoa, like you got to take it all in and then think about what you want it to do. And for me, I want it to be a way that our members can, I want to go out to lunch today. Let's look up the restaurants of who are the LIBA members. Or I had somebody text me a little bit ago, and I was looking up our member directory. I need an attorney for something.
Oh.
Who are some attorneys? And I'm like, okay, what do you need? Okay, and I can look at the attorneys and be able to know. So it's really a great way to have access to information, to share the push notifications, all of those kind of things, and just a tool to interact. And it's been a really cool process because, like I said, that first meeting, I went back to my office and I just kind of went, whoa. I don't know if I'm ready for this or whatever, but it was really great working through the process of this is what we need to do, this is how we're going to move forward, and just going through. And then, I remember the day that we got to test it.
Yeah.
Like we got to log on and test it. It was like, okay, I like this part, I don't like this. And they're like, how can you say that so quick? And I'm like, I'm just like, you get used to it.
Yeah.
But, getting used to using it. And it's kind of fun now because once in a while we'll get a call and somebody will say, hey, I have a question about the app. I'm trying to use the app for this or that or, whatever. And so it's just a way to reach our members. And I think, during COVID, if nothing else, the focus on being able to reach our people is just of the utmost importance.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. The resource, I hear you, it's great to support your community and have these resources, but if they don't know how to find you, if they can't get in contact with you, and just, like if you need an attorney, you need somebody, you want to keep it within the community.
Absolutely.
It's a great opportunity.
Well, and I love that mindset of our members of, like, I need to support LIBA members. So I got a friend calls and says, hey, I need new tires for my car. Who are the LIBA members? Okay, let's go. I get on my app because that friend doesn't have the app. I'm like, okay. I told him, I'm like, you need to get the app. Well, we don't have it, but he's older than I am, so I got to give him a break. But I look at tires and I go, okay, here's who you call, and really going and telling people thank you for being a LIBA member. I think it's important, and that's one of the things. Like my wife and I, this year and since I came to LIBA, we are so diligent about shopping at LIBA members, and little things that we've done for years. It's like, okay, we need to stop going to this place, and now we're going to go here.
It's kind of voting with your dollars.
Well, but the people that help support the organization that I run are the people where my money is going to go.
It's a win-win.
As much as possible. But it's really fun to get the members helping members and just doing whatever we can to help each other.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
support network is huge these days. So you did mention COVID. Could you go ahead and tell us a little bit about how COVID has affected LIBA, either positively or negatively?
Well, I think both. A little bit of both.
Sure.
I think when things first happened with COVID, so we have an annual fundraiser every year, and this year it happened on March 12th. And I remember that day so well because that is the day they canceled the Big Ten basketball tournament.
Yep.
That's the day that at halftime, the Creighton basketball game was like, game's over, tournament's done. Like all those things were happening as we're getting ready for our event.
The timing.
And so the negative impact was really, normally we would have between 550 and 600 people attend.
Wow.
We had probably 275, 300. And that's a huge impact when it comes to raising money. Like that's a huge fundraiser for our organization.
True.
So that was kind of a negative impact. And so, we got together as a team that day and I just said, hey, look, before we went to the Embassy Suites to set up, I was like, look, folks, it's going to be a day where we're just going to have to adjust.
Sure.
We don't know what the day's going to bring. Let's control what we can control.
Yep.
And we got through and we had a nice event. It wasn't as successful as it normally would be for obvious reasons. But then we came back to work on Monday, and the number one thing for me was make sure our team was safe.
Right.
I never would do anything to jeopardize the health and safety of our people. But then the second most important thing to me was to be available. To be available to our members so that they knew if they picked up the phone and called LIBA, we were going to be there. Because, I mean, these small businesses were like, okay, now you got to shut down. Yeah. Oh, now you can do this. Okay, how the hell do I go from being a full-service family-style restaurant to a drive-up, a curbside pickup, right? I mean,
half capacity or less.
Well, half capacity, and my rent doesn't change, my electricity bills and all that.
Certainly not.
But, you can't, it's hard to have a 30 top pull up and grab dinner at your restaurant. No. And so we wanted to be open, to be available to our members. And so we modified the hours for our staff, so we kind of split the days.
Okay. So
everybody was working 5 to 6 hours in the office and then, kind of staggering it. We have a lot of room to spread out anyway, but still, and if it was, I think I might have been exposed to somebody that might have had been exposed to somebody. It was like, go home.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted to take care of our people and always be open. And that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of is that we were able to stay open and be available. We went through and did a lot of different things with the Small Business Administration, Congressman Fortenberry, and others to try to put resources in front of our members so that they knew what was happening, sharing the DHMs, sharing different things that we were finding out at all levels. And so the communication, but then I think probably for me, the coolest outcome that we found is we had to kind of redefine some things. Okay, so for instance, we don't get together.
Yeah.
Like we went through a period where we just couldn't get together with people.
It's true.
Like for our coffees and all this stuff. And it was like, how are we going to engage our members? And so we started doing a Facebook Live every Tuesday for our lunch because we host a monthly luncheon. And the first Tuesday that everything was going crazy with COVID, we were supposed to have an in-person lunch and we had to cancel it. And so we decided to go and start doing these live lunches. And I've done it for over 40 weeks in a row, every Tuesday.
Wow.
And we bring in different LIBA members or community members. I mean, we've had all kinds of restaurants, retail, public safety officials. The mayor was on there a couple of times to talk about different things. But to try to reach our people, because going into COVID, we had talked about how are we going to get better at social media? Like, what are some little tips we can do as a team to grow our social media? And, one of the things that we had talked about was more live video content. And I was kind of like, I don't know. And then it was, well, why don't you do a lunch where you interview people? And I'm like, I don't know. That's not, I mean, because, Kobe was an awesome radio host. And Kobe had this awesome radio show. And it was almost like, I don't want to he was, that's like being the guy that replaces Tom Osborne, right?
Step into the shoes.
You don't want to be that guy. But we found our own pair of shoes with the Facebook Live because it's a little different platform. It's once a week, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, Renee was on there one time. We talked about the app. So that, to me, was kind of one of the great things about being able to build our reach. And so we're reaching beyond our membership, too. So we're starting to see people and some of those things. I think, as we look at coming out of COVID, we've redefined ourselves in some ways with how we communicate with our members. We've kind of refined our philosophy about, we got to really focus on our members and understand them and connect them to people and help them be better and build deeper relationships. Because I know there are a lot of people that love LIBA. but we want all those new people to love it like the people that have been there 20 years, right? And so we're trying to create better ways to reinvent ourselves, which I think coming out of this, businesses all over the place are doing.
Yeah, so looking into the future, it sounds like you've really adapted to this situation pretty well. Would you say that continuing these digital strategies, it's going to be part of your future goals for LIBA? Do you have any other?
I think absolutely it will
goals?
Be. I think for us, the number one thing is I want people to think if they need to find out something and find a resource for business, their first thought is LIBA.
Okay.
That's what my big goal is, right?
Yeah, that's great.
We want to do that. And I think the digital strategy is important. I think just building the relationships.
Absolutely.
And whether that's, I think one of the things I've always learned, having been in fundraising and different nonprofit roles, you kind of have to meet people where they are.
True.
And so for some people it's email, some people it's text, some people it's Facebook, some people it's I need to see you in person,
Sure.
all of those kind of things. And so I think being able to adapt to that is probably one of the most important things we can do. I really like being able to take advantage more of technology to reach people. But I also think helping enhance the education that we provide.
Okay.
That was one of the first things I said with what we do is education. But to provide more and better resources on a daily basis for our members, whether that's a lunch and learn about new tax law or whatever it might be, but to create ways for people to engage, because it might, the lunch and learn this month might not be for you, but the one next month might. Okay. And so to try to find ways that we can really help, because at the end of the day, we want the business community in this town to thrive.
Absolutely.
Right?
We agree.
All I care about is the future of the community, and I want to make sure that we're doing what we can for business. So that's some of the things that we're working on.
Sounds great. Well, you've got a lot of resources out there for local business owners and our community. How can people find you online?
So obviously we have our Facebook page, which is just search for LIBA, L-I-B-A, Lincoln Independent Business Association. Our website is liba.org, liba.org. A great way to identify resources, find out who our members are. Even if you're not a LIBA member and you're looking for a plumber or a furnace person or, a boutique to shop for your kids or something, take a look at the website and go to our member directory and go out and support those local businesses who are supporting our town.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, we've loved having you on here, Bud. Is there a final message you'd like to give to our Lincoln community before we have you go?
I think the biggest thing is coming through this pandemic, we've really stuck together and really supported our local small businesses. Don't forget that. I guess that's my biggest message. Don't forget it, because we need those businesses. Those local businesses are the ones that are employing your friends and neighbors and family. Those local businesses are the ones that are paying property taxes, that are helping take care of our roads. Those local businesses are the ones, when you go to a charity event, are donating the gift basket that might only be worth $50. But right now, for them to donate that basket means they care about this community. And
Absolutely.
So when you look at some of the big online retail marketplaces, they're not going to show up when you need a new scoreboard in your kid's school. They're not going to show up when the water main breaks at your church and need to fix it. It's the local people that are going to do it. So I don't want us to forget about the importance and the value of those local businesses, because if you spend $100 online, that $100 is going somewhere and disappearing.
Right.
You spend $100 in Lincoln, and that money is going to circulate through our community, I think, 8 to 10 times.
Wow.
Think about that. $100 becomes $1,000 if you spend it in Lincoln. $100 becomes $100 outside of Lincoln when you spend it outside of Lincoln.
Very powerful message. Well, Bud,
I can talk about that all day. So you got me wound up at the end there.
No problem. Take care,
Thank
Bud.
you.
Have a great day.